Good afternoon. Good afternoon. We'd like to welcome everyone to our City Council meeting for the afternoon of Wednesday, December the 8th. I will note that all of our council is present and the Vice Mayor is here virtually. Vice Mayor, good to see you. You're looking well. Hope you're feeling well.
Yes, thank you.
You bet. The first item on our agenda is to review the agenda that we have for tonight's regular council meeting. So let's go through that document again. Before we begin, council, do you know if you have any questions regarding what's going on upstairs? Mr. Luna.
Hey, Jim, we received an email from someone relative to 6D. If you could speak to that.
Sure. Mayor, Councilmember Luna, just a couple hours before this meeting, as you know, you all received a letter from an attorney that represents an adjacent property owner to the grid project. It's a letter which makes a number of claims. Obviously, we only recently received it, but I'll try to sort of summarize some of it and at least provide you some initial comments on it. And I know Jeff has some comments also. A number of the legal arguments really sort of come down to sort of two different areas. One is there's a claim that there's a taking or a trespass, and the letter seems to focus primarily on sort of fence and a few other items from the grid that are alleged to have trespassed onto this private property, and then a claim of either a taking or a trespass from that. And even attached to this letter, there's a letter from approximately 2 years ago making a similar allegations. And so and I'll just say, in that intervening 2 years, we had not heard anything. We'd not had any more correspondence regarding that. And Jeff, we'd heard sort of secondhand that it had been resolved, and so to sort of get this on the eve of the council decision is sort of surprising that this somehow has been going on for 2 years without a resolution. Let me also say that really that's a private property matter regarding both the grid and this private property, is to the extent that the fence is or isn't on their property or other items, that is something that they would ultimately have to resolve, and if ultimately it has to take litigation, that would be between them. Then there's also sort of what I'll call there's allegations of a nuisance, that the current status, and it seems to me that what they're saying is that the current status of the building is somehow a nuisance and detracts from their property value. It seems to be that's what they're saying. And then what's interesting is the letter asks for a delay in the project to sort of consider other items. But then they also ask for the project to get done earlier. So they both want a delay, but the project done earlier. And so, again, to the extent that there is any alleged nuisance, they would bring that against the grid also. And so, I can never guarantee that we won't get pulled into a lawsuit or somehow get pulled into some other matter. And we're actually, willing to get pulled into the extent that we can help moderate these two parties and find a resolution regarding these items. So we think that's in the best interest of all the downtown property owners, especially obviously these two. And so, so I think that's sort of the primary sort of legal aspect of the letter. I think there's some sort of factual aspects that I think Jeff can address.
Okay, thank you.
Jeff.
There are some elements of the letter that claim that Caliber was on downtown Mesa. It was unaware of the efforts to move forward with this project with the grid. I look back through this year. I have records of 20 meetings in which we have met with Caliber. In the last couple of months, and in the last several meetings, there's been regular requests of Caliber for updates on the grid project, and we have always shared the grid project, those updates, and made it very clear that we are continuing to work with the developer to try and find a resolution to this issue. We have provided plenty of opportunities through those meetings to provide or to let us know of this concern so that we could work on a solution. We feel that a delay would actually be counter to their intended goal of having this project completed and Pomeroy open as soon as possible. However, having said that, Mr. Brady and I met with representatives of Caliber on Monday, and we committed to Caliber that the city would work in cooperation with Caliber and Tony Wall, the developer with the grid, to find a solution. And if we are able to find a reasonable solution that allows Pomeroy to be opened early, or sections of Pomeroy to maybe allow one-way traffic early, we will resolve to do that. Tony Wall, as I've spoken with him, I've made that very clear to him that that is our expectation of him. We believe that we have the authority under the current development agreement without amendment to actually require that of Tony. And he has made that commitment to us that he would work with the developer or with Caliber as well. I am aware that they have had conversations themselves in which Mr. Wall has shared with Caliber his willingness to work with him, and I am also aware that I think he has shared that commitment to council members as well. I'd be happy to invite Tony up as well if we would like to reiterate that commitment. We have shared our availability to be able to get a meeting on the books as soon as possible so we can start working towards resolution of this issue and see if there is a better way to handle the Pomeroy Road closure.
So staff recommendation is to go ahead and move forward. I've communicated with Mr. Wall. I'm comfortable the way it's written and would support moving this forward.
Staff's recommendation is to continue to move forward. We believe this is the appropriate way to resolve the overall issue and get the project restarted and completed as soon as possible. It is only in the developer's interest to move as fast as possible to complete this project. So regardless of whether this gives a 2-year window for completion of the project, it's only in Mr. Wall's benefit to move as fast as possible from a construction cost perspective, all of those things. And if we can find a resolution that allows us to open Pomeroy sooner, we will do so.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Thompson.
Mike, I'm not overly concerned with the extension of the agreement. My concern is more with Caliber. You know, in District 6, we're experiencing charter schools, and nothing against charter schools. I think they serve a great purpose. But it seems the charter schools aren't capable of setting up a drop-off and pick-up for students without interfering with arterial without interfering with our arterial roads, increasing traffic on our arterial roads. And then, so irregardless of whether this project goes or not, I think it's prudent upon Caliber to ensure that they are going to be able to accommodate the pickup and drop off of students without impacting city right away. And I'm not sure at that location that they would be able to, whether the grid was there or not. And so I have some grave concerns on Caliber's ability to do that, because I see what's happening in District 6 with the charter schools now, where we have cars backing up on Baseline Road. We've got cars backing up on Eastmark Parkway. You know, it's just, we have cars backing up on Guadalupe and Signal Butte, and it's impacting our other businesses and residents in the area. And so I would caution Caliber to make sure that they can meet the traffic flow patterns and that they work with the city to ensure that they can do that without impeding traffic in the travel lanes. So that's all.
Mayor, Councilmember Thompson, we share your concern, and given the nature of the site itself, the urban nature of it, there is not a solution for pickup and drop off that would not have to use public right of way. And so that is a concern given the nature of the business access in that area. Main Street with light rail, Mesa Drive is a busy arterial as well.
Okay, well, that's an issue for another day,
Yep.
but Ms. Spilsbury.
I just wanted to comment that my 3 kids' public schools all back up onto the main roads every single drop-off and pickup time. So it's an issue with schools in general, not just charters.
I've got some great stories to share on the topic too, but we'll look forward to that being on the agenda at some other time. So will item 6D be off of the consent agenda? Was that one of the requests for this letter that we're talking about?
I did not see that in the letter, and there was no blue card submitted to my knowledge.
There was no
Okay.
comment card submitted.
All right, so it'll stay on, okay to leave it on the consent agenda unless somebody shows up and asks to remove it? Okay. Okay, thank you. Vice Mayor, are you, anything you'd like to add to that?
No, I agree to keep it on consent. I think going ahead with this agreement is in the best interest of all. To have the grid constructed is beneficial for our downtown as well as the value of the property for Caliber and surrounding areas for development. For going forward to stop it, I think is a mistake for everybody involved.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Council, other questions regarding tonight's agenda? I know we had a lengthy study session on this last week. We do have several items that are off of the consent agenda for a public hearing, but again, I think those have been pretty well discussed prior to. Mr. Brady, anything else from a staff perspective you think we need to?
No, Mayor, I think just because we're having these back-to-back meetings on Wednesdays, I think we had a robust conversation just last week, so I think we were able to cover most everything.
Okay, great. Well, then if there's nothing else to discuss before we go upstairs on about that agenda, let's move on to the rest of this agenda. The next item then is meetings and conferences attended. Council members, anything you'd like to share with us? Mr. Luna.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Spilberry and I are going to have an event over at Jefferson Elementary School on December 15th. Sorry. We're going to be, well, actually not us, but the Bomberos are going to be donating 20 bikes to students over at Jefferson Elementary School, as well as Mesa Police. MPA actually will be donating some gifts, and so we look forward to that wonderful presentation. It's a lot of fun, and it brings joy to the children's Christmas. So we're happy that we can partner with Jefferson Elementary School to do that. So
that's great. Thank you for doing that.
My new district.
There you go. They have 2 representatives now. That means more bikes for everyone, right? All right. Frankie, I know you've got a similar event coming up. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, next week we have our annual toy drive that benefits Banner Children's Hospital on Southern and Dobson. So we're currently still collecting toys at Dobson Ranch Golf Course, a couple other businesses collecting toys. We can still take in if folks are interested in donating. So it helps fill out their toy closet for the rest of the year. As children go into surgeries, after surgery, they get a toy or electronic or whatever age-appropriate item is there for them. So we've been doing this for many years, so hopefully we can get many toys into that toy closet. So
great. Thank you for keeping that tradition going. I'm sorry, Mr. Luna. Go ahead.
sorry, Mayor. Also on Saturday, Santa's going to be flying into Falcon Field Airport at the Commemorative Air Force Museum, and we're hoping it doesn't end up like your story.
There's bad karma about Santa Claus flying to town.
So we do plan to videotape it, just to have it on.
You may or may not want photographic evidence of what happens when Santa comes. Okay, well, thank you. Mr. Freeman? Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. This morning we had a coffee with a cop at Starbucks at Gilbert McKillop, so thank you to Red Mountain District for doing that. A lot of the officers and patrons that came were surprised to see officers hanging their heads out of windows, handing coffee to the drive-through as well as serving. Appreciated them doing that. We also have custard with a cop coming up at Andy's on this December 14th. So if you want to be there from 4 to 7 on McKillop's, great time to hang out with some of the officers that patrol that area as well as their supervisors. And also there is a retiree, a soon-to-be retiree in this congregation, I'll call it congregation, but she has a tiara and a sash that she could put on if she's brave enough. But regardless, Christine Zalanka will be leaving us sometime soon. So, Christine, are you here? Yeah, there you raise your hand. Come on.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
We'll do that. Mr. Brady, that's your call.
Mrs. Zalanka, would you mind coming up? I know that you're. This is probably not what you want, but would you please come up?
Maybe some farewell words.
There is an actual tiara. That's great. Thank you. Well, we will have a more, an event dedicated to expressing our appreciation to you, but I first worked for the city of Mesa back in 1996 when I was elected to our council, and there was a wonderful young woman that worked there back then, Christine Zalanka, and so she was one of the few familiar faces that I saw when I came back 25 years later. And so I can attest personally to the amazing career that this woman has had wearing a variety of hats, and most recently, one of the most significant hats in our community. When you're one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, the person who's in charge of development services is, I mean, if that person's not stellar, you're in a lot of trouble.
Well, Mayor, I always say this,
Yeah.
and I'd say it even if you're here, this is where economic development begins and ends, is right here with this lady.
Yeah.
Bill's just kind of the pretty boy picture. But this is, the real work takes place right here, right? We send Bill out there to do, you know, kind of the showgirl thing. But this is the lady that delivers.
Well, that's true, and I don't want to use all my material for the quote for the party that we will honor you at, Christine. But it is appropriate for this being your last meeting. Yeah, absolutely.
Important items to the council. Yeah. So it's a career that is well worth celebrating and expressing appreciation to.
Well, I wish you could stay forever because you're so good at your job, and but thank you for all your service to our community, Mr. Luna.
So Christine and I are going to be doing dual pianos, right?
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah.
I'll play the chords.
Okay, you play the chorus, I play the melody.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
So.
And we have our showgirl.
Yeah, Bill.
Can he dance?
This is great. Yeah.
He's a good dancer.
I'm not sure I want to come to this event.
Oh, you won't want to miss it.
Yeah. Okay.
But I know that there's a, you know, this Sun Tzu's Art of War, and I think I've learned the art of negotiation working with Christine over the years and my time on council. And I remember we had a project that was really hard to push through. And she goes, I got a secret to that. We'll turn the heat up. We lock everybody inside, and we give them plenty of water.
We've done that.
And nobody leaves the room until we come to an agreement.
We did that.
And she's Christine, you're going to be missed because you've helped push a lot of projects for me over the finish line that we didn't think were going to get there. So you're going to be missed, and thank you for your years of service to the city and our community.
Thank you very much for your kind words. It's been a pleasure working with all of you. We've got a great team. Even Bill, he contributes to the team. So I have always appreciated his ability to help out when needed. But thank you very much. You've always been so supportive. And Mayor, you're right. You and I go back a long way. And all of you, I think we've done great work together as a team. So thank you very much. I appreciate the kind words.
You bet.
Christine, go ahead. Could you share a story with me about the day you fired the fire department? Just tell everybody about that.
You know, my boss, I don't think, is going to appreciate it if I tell that story.
Nothing surprises me anymore. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't honestly think that it would be appropriate for me to share this story on camera because my good friend, Chief Camelli, would probably not be very happy with me. So
this was way before Chief Camelli was chief.
It's true, but it was the fire department.
But we have Chief Johnson here.
I will share that
just
story
a brief
when we're not
about
on
our
camera.
household hazardous waste.
Next week.
Okay, we'll save it for him.
All right. Well, like I said, we will more formally or specifically honor your great career, but for those who are watching who might not know why this city is such a great place to live, this is one of the reasons right here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right. Other comments before we go upstairs? I would just like to add that we had a significant occurrence at a MAG meeting over the lunch hour. Myself and a lot of our city staff and MAG staff have been working really for many months on a regional homeless action plan for MAG to assume a leadership role in coordinating all of the local governments and the other stakeholders in having a regional action plan on homelessness. And I was really gratified that at lunchtime today, where there was a MAG meeting where all of the communities that participate in MAG, 25 or so communities, unanimously adopted this Pathways Home Regional Homeless Action Plan. This is a 5-year plan, $130 million plan. Goal is to reduce homelessness by 25% in our region. And it engages a lot of other partners, not just local governments. And of the $130 million, $109 million is already there. And so there's, again, it's going to involve hundreds of additional housing units, and I think we'll really set a nice trajectory for us going forward as a region to work together to address homelessness. So hopefully you'll hear more about that in the days and weeks to come, but I think it's a real positive. We've all talked about how we need to engage regionally, invite other communities to play a significant role in addressing this problem, and that the first step to that was unanimously agreed at MAG today. Also earlier this week, we had Mr. Jevgeniak, our famous favorite showgirl, had convened an economic development lunch with some of the major employers in town. This is folks who have thousands of employees. We had about the employers of over about 20,000 of our jobs in the city, and I thought that was just a wonderful event. We, as you know, talk a great deal about supporting small business, and we all take a lot of pride in that, and we've prioritized that as an organization, very appropriately so. But we don't want to ignore our major employers as well. So we did a lot of listening. Again, heard about the challenges that some of our major employers are experiencing right now, having to do with workforce and supply chain and all the things that are major hurdles right now, and made sure that they knew that our city is anxious to help them as they face those challenges. So we look forward to continuing to work with businesses large and small in our city. So that's my report.
Mayor, do you want to congratulate our new county supervisor?
Oh, thank you. And we have a relationship with that. Tom Galvin was today appointed to be the supervisor for the district that covers the majority of Mesa. I've had the opportunity to talk with Mr. Galvin and let him know that we look forward to working with him as he represents most of our community, and we appreciate his support of Mesa, and he's assured me that that he's going to work hard for our community. The county supervisors, as you know, it's a huge county, and so when it's divided by 5 people, each one of those supervisors represents about 800,000 people. And Mr. Galvin's district includes, like I say, a lot of Mesa. And we, as Mr. Brady and others will attest to, we deal on a daily basis with Maricopa County in one way or another. So we look forward to working with Mr. Galvin and continuing our good relationship with the county. But congratulations to him, and again, we look forward to working with him. Mr. Thompson.
Just one real quick thing. I want to recognize Landon Vance. He's, wave Landon wherever you're at. So he's shadowing me today, and so I just wanted to do a shout out to him. Thanks for coming in. And he's been, most of you know him probably, he's been hanging out at our council meetings, keeping an eye on us, and wants to be more involved, so thank you.
Thank you, Council. Anything else you'd like to discuss before we adjourn? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn this meeting? Thank you, Mr. Luna and Ms. Pillsbury. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. We are adjourned, and we will reconvene in just a few minutes upstairs.